Hello, beautiful people. You're welcome back to my channel again. So, if you've not subscribed, you know where to hit on the subscribe button, hit on the like button if you end up enjoying this video, and also hit on the notification bell so as to get notified whenever I post a new video. So, for my returning viewers, thank you very much for stopping by again. So, in today's class, we are going to be drafting a princess that alongside recreating this beautiful elem dress that you see here. So let's get started in the video. So first we'll be drafting the princess that as the dress is going to carry a princess that. So I'm just drawing a straight line to serve as our shoulder measurement, and from this to serve as our shoulder line, and then from this shoulder line we'll be drafting all other marking all other horizontal points like my bust point, my waistline, and then my underbust respectively. So on those points that I've marked, I'm going to rule a straight line across. This is like drafting a basic bodice. So that is my bust point and this is my underbust. I'm just ruling a straight line across, and then this is my waistline. So from that point now, I'm going to be marking my chest line, which I did not roll, but I will roll it later, though it's not necessary for drafting a princess dart. So I'm just labeling the lines that I've marked. That's the bust point, the under bust, and then the waistline. So from there, I'm going to be marking my shoulder measurement. That is my shoulder divided by 2, which is 7. And from that point, I'm going to mark the depth of my armhole, which is 8. Then from that point, I'm going to rule a straight line outwards and then rule it all the way to the shoulder. So this is like our armhole. Um, this is like creating. That is this for creating the armhole. So I'm going to mark the width of the neck. I marked 3 inches because this is like having a high collar. So from the shoulder, I'm coming down by 1 inch and I'm marking it into the neck for our shoulder slant. So I'm marking that. That is our bust span, our nipple to nipple measurement. My nipple to nipple measurement is 7. 7 divided by 2, 3.5. I'm marking 4 there. That's plus half inch stitching allowance, but I'm not marking 4 actually. I'm marking 3.5 because we want this, because this is a process that it is not a straight dart, so we want it to pass through our bust point exactly. That's the reason why we are marking 3.5. So from the under bust, I'm going out by 2.5 inch, and I'm also going out by 2.5 inches on the waistline. Then from that point I marked on the under bust, I'm going to connect it all the way to the waistline. And then from the point I marked on the under bust, I'm connecting it in a curved way through to the bust point. So this curve is going to continue into the armhole. So for us to get that effect, we are going to divide the armhole divide by 2. The armhole is 8, so dividing it into 2 will mark it at 4. So from that point now to this is me now marking my chest line, which will not be needing, but I'm just putting it there so that you know that there is a chest line there. So from that point we marked on the armhole, we are going to connect it to the bust point in a curved way. That's that curve that's coming from the under bust. It's going to travel all the way into the armhole. So now from that point we marked on the armhole, we are going to come down by 1 inch. So this is going to serve as our bust tightening at that area. So we are going to make a curve from that point now into the breast curve like this. So I'm going to mark out the part that will not be needing and will be cutting it out. So this effect now is going to serve as the bust tightening on the chest line there. Next, we want to create our armhole. So we are also dividing this into two, and then from that point we are going to come out, in by 1/2 inch, and then connect it to the shoulder. So I'm just like making sure it is 1/2 inch, then we'll connect it to the shoulder like this. So right now we are going to mark our measurement, our round bust measurement. That's our round bust measurement divided by 4 is 9. So we just mark it on the horizontal line for the armhole, and then we'll just connect that point in a curved way through to the points we marked for our bust like this. So that's that about creating the armhole of this dress. So next we are determining the depth of our neckline. So I'm just coming down from my shoulder line by 3 inches, and then I'm going to rule a line across these 2 points of the neck, and then we just rule a curved line around it like this to serve as our neck depth and width, to serve as our neck literally. So if you notice, there is a V-shaped net on the dress. So that's what we are going to be creating now. From the so I want the depth of this net to be deep up to the underbust. So I'm just going to rule a straight line all the way to the shoulder like this, and then we'll be cutting this out, and we'll be using it to cut out the neck that we are going to attach to the dress. So now we are going to take our body measurement. Our bust measurement divided by 4 is 9. We are going to impute it there, and then we'll also take our waist measurement divided by 4, impute it, and the underbust divided by 4, impute it also. So my underbust divided by 4, I'm just marking it there. So I'm going to add this 2.5 that we took out here. I'm going to add it there, and then for the waist also we are going to do the same thing. For the waist, we will be marking our bust points divided by 4, and then we impute that to 2.5 inch allowance that we took, 2.5 inch measurement that we took away. We'll add it. Practically, I'm imputing the waist measurement. I'm going to mark it there. So I'm also going to add this 2.5 inch measurement we took away, and we'll add it. So remember, we have not added our stitching allowance yet. So we are going to do that round across the bust points, under bust and waistline. So right now I'm just marking the points that I've marked earlier. I'm like ruling the points I've marked earlier together like this. So it is from this line now that we will add our stitching allowance. So my stitching allowance is 2 inches. You can add one, you can add 1.5, it depends on what you want. So I'm just adding 2 inches for safety reasons. So from that point now, we are also going to row the mark points together. Fast forward to the cutting of this. Just watch me as I'm cutting out this pattern. So right now we'll be cutting out the part that we'll be needing for cutting the net. And that will be it for drafting a princess that. So we'll be using those patterns now to cut out on our main fabric. So this fabric is folded into two, as you can see, obviously. So what we're going to do now is we are going to place the pattern on top of the fabric, on top of the folded fabric, and use our pins to hold it down. So on top, on the openings you see on the part that will be having joinings, we are going to add ½ inch around it for stitching allowance so that we don't run short of fabric. So as you can see, we are done cutting this, putting adding ½ inch around the parts that will be stitching together. So you can also see the pattern for the net. So now we are going to be cutting out the back. The back will not be requiring pattern paper. We'll just be drafting it on the fabric. So this fabric is folded into two, and I'm using my round bust measurement, which is the largest, divided by 2, divided by 4, then plus 2 inches sewing allowance, and then plus 2 inches zip allowance. So right now I'm marking my shoulder line, and it is from this point now that will mark all the way to the waistline, which is 17, and we are going to cut from this point. So from the shoulder line, we are going to mark our horizontal point. That's the bust point and the waistline. We're not needing the underbust because this is a back pattern. So we are going to draft a basic back pattern. If you don't know how to do that, I'll drop the link on the description box below. You might want to check it out. So we are marking our 2 inches for our zipper. So I'm just going to use my ruler now to mark across those lines, those points that I've marked. So I'm going to just fold it in like this so that we'll forget about the zipper, but it will be there. It will not be there, but it will be there. You understand? So from there now, I'm marking the width of my neckline, which is 3, and then the depth should be 2 inches because this is like a high neck. So we are going to be curving it into that 2 inches, and then I'm marking my shoulder, which is 7, and my armhole, which is 8, and I'm rolling a line across and joining the 2 points together, and then to make that, and that is that's about making of the curve. So I'm just coming down from the shoulder by 1 inch, and I'm going to connect it into the neckline to serve as our shoulder slant as we did in the front pattern. So I'm from the waist now. I'm marking my waist measurement, which is 6.5, and I'll add my 2 inches stitching allowance, and I'll connect it to the bust point. Remember, I cut this fabric using my bust measurement plus 2 inch, then plus 2 inch sewing allowance, so there was no need measuring the bust point, so I just connected it like that. So I'm just like making sure that this is half an inch. So right now what I'm doing is I'm marking the point where my dart will start from. I'm starting from 8, and I'm marking my nipple to nipple measurements, which is 4, 3.5, then plus half-inch sewing allowance is 4, right? Unlike our front that we did 3.5, but that was because it's a princess dart. So from the waistline now, I'm marking half-inch in and out of that that leg. So I'm going to connect it all the way to the top point, to the marked top point, and this is our dart. So now I'm going to cut the neck, the shoulder, the armhole, and the body, and that would be that about drafting of the back pattern for this dress. So for the down part of this dress, the fabric as usual is folded into two using our hip measurement divided by 4 plus 2-inch sewing allowance. That is what I used to fold this fabric into two. So from the top part now, I'm taking away 15, which is for our up, instead of 16. You know my waistline is 16, so I'm taking 15. So by the time we take away 1 inch, it will be 16. So I'm going to mark the longest part, like the longest part of this dress that you see here. I'm going to mark that point down. I know this was not captured on camera, so I'm going to mark it and I'll be cutting it out so that you guys will be able to see the whole process of making this skirt. So from the top part now, which is serving as our waistline, we will be marking our waist divided by 4 plus 2-inch sewing allowance. So my waist divided by 4 is 6.5, and then I'm going to add 2 inches sewing allowance. So now from that top part, I'm going to come down by 10 inches, by 10 inches literally, but because of the 1 inch that will be taken away, it should be um 9 inch like this. So plus that 1 inch, that's what's making it 10 inch. So I'm just going to roll a line across the 9 inch that we marked, and that is where our hip will be sitting. So my hip divided by 4, I'm going to mark it and add my 2-inch sewing allowance, and then I will connect the two end marks together like this in a curved. This is more like drafting of basic skirt. So at the base of this skirt, we'll be marking our hip measurement. That is, it is supposed to be your hip minus 2 plus 2. It is still your hip. So we'll just be marking our hip measurement down there and then connect it to the hip point. Also in a curved form, not a straight form. So we are going to cut out this skirt and then we'll get into the magic. If you guys notice, there is a high part to the skirt and a low part to the skirt. So I'm just marking the low part of the skirt, which is at 30 inches down from the waistline, from the shoulder line. So I'm going to take out my 2-inch allowance that I added before, and then at the base that's at the base for the down part of the skirt, I'm also going to take out 2 inches allowance. Like I'm going to mark it out 2 inches allowance. So now from the upper part of where it is ending, where I marked out that first 2 inch, I'm going to give like a curve down to the other side of the 2 inch. That's the lower side of the 2 inch. I don't know if you understand me. So right, and at this down part of this dress, I came out by 2 inch, and then at the upper part I came out by 2 inch, and I'm going to connect it in a zigzag form like this. You understand now? I'm just going to connect it. It's just a freehand curve. You can just do whatever design you want to do, but because this is what is in the picture, like what we're seeing now, this is what I this is what I decided to go with. So I'm just going to cut out this part. So that's that about drafting uh the front part of this skirt. So now we are going to be moving forward to the back part. I've gone ahead to use the front to cut out the back, but leaving a 2 inches space for our zipper. So now I'm going to fold this zipper allowance in so that it will not be visible. If you notice, I have also gone ahead to like cut out the long part of that zigzag. So it's the short part that we want to cut, and that's the reason why we are folding this zipper in like this. So what we are going to do is that we are going to take out the front part of the skirt so that we'll be able to open up the back part. So I'm taking out the front part now. As you can see, that's the back part, but the zipper is folded in, and we will just open the back part like this. As you can see, the zipper is like closed in, and it is looking more like the front part. So I'm just going to use my pins to hold down that zipper area so that it will not be jumping up and down. Next, because this fabric is kind of confusing. So I'm like determining where the front part is. So the part facing us now is our front part. So we are going to take is the right side, I mean. So we are going to take the front part of the skirt and place it right side facing each other. That means the front part the wrong side will be facing us, right? So as you can see, one side of this thing is in line, the other side is not. So it's the other side that we are going to be trimming out using the front as a guide. So for the net part of this dress, if you notice the dress is having a net, so we are going to fold this net into two, take the front and place it on it like this, the way you see. So the measurement marked at 30 is going to be at the top like this, and then we are going to take our tape place it on the waistline, removing 15 inches. So you can see that that 30 inches is exactly on that line, like this. So we are going to mark the full length of this dress. The full length of this dress is 57, so I'm just going to mark 57 at that point. So from this, the down part of the skirt, like of the main fabric, is like 9 inches. So I'm going to mark 9 inches at the down part of this net also, all the way to meet that fabric. So right now I'm like cutting out the net, following the line, and then when I get to the fabric, I will just follow the um, I'll follow the fabric. So after cutting, I'm going to open up the net like this, and I'm going to take the fabric, place it as it should be. That is, the lower side will be at the tip of the net like this, and then the longer side will just relax following the side edge. So like this, now that I've placed it, the way I'm going to trim right across the zigzag line on the net. I don't know if you're understanding my English, but if you're not, just follow what I'm doing and you'll be on the right. So that's about the drafting and cutting of this beautiful dress. So just stay tuned for the sewing part of this dress because this dress is already too long. So I'm just going to like upload the sewing part of this dress. Stay tuned, guys. Stay safe and thank you for watching. If you watched to this point and you enjoyed this video, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell so as to get notified whenever I post a new video. And see you in the next tutorial video.